Isn't it intriguing to think about how rich people accumulate their wealth and maintain it? Oftentimes, people tend to think that being rich means being able to spend their money on whatever they want. On the contrary though, this is way different from the reality. Regardless of the fact that they have millions or even billions worth of assets, every single wealthy individual has this common trait. They stay away from squandering money. Even if they have substantial finances, wealthy people prefer to get better bargains, live simple lives, and spend their money on necessities rather than desires. In other words, they spend purposefully, even if they don't have to. This is Useful Wisdom, where we will be showing you the latest tips and tricks in the financial space, as well as business and entrepreneurship. And in this video, I'll walk you through the 7 expenses that every wealthy person avoids. But before we proceed to that, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated every time we upload new videos like this. Enjoy! Expense number 1, debt repayments. The first expense that all wealthy individuals avoid is debt repayment, which includes any additional costs incurred as a result of owing someone money. And I'm not implying anything by stating this. Your biggest financial threat is debt. Jared Kushner, on the other hand, can rest easy with millions of dollars in debt hanging over his head. Student loans and costly property plans are ruining the lives of others. Rich people recognize that using someone else's money to make investments is a risk that can quickly spiral out of control. As a result, many of them would rather not take this chance at all. Multiple credit cards, auto loans, and house plans are rarely explored by the sparkling rich, unless the investment they're making has a chance of outpacing their interest rates. I'm merely imploring you that without a comprehensive financial contingency plan, you're doomed. Debt repayment is an expense that will wreak havoc on your finances and obstruct your path to financial freedom. Bad debt is extremely easy to get into and very difficult to get rid of. Take education, for example. How long does it take an average college graduate to repay a $26,900 student loan? According to the Department of Education, the conspiracy might last up to 20 years, or 5 times as long. The length of time spent in education and on this loan will almost certainly have accrued a lot of interest, and you'll be repaying far more than you borrowed. This is why wealthy individuals avoid debt whenever possible. And if they must take on debt, they must have a well-defined repayment scheme. Warren Buffett, in fact, said it best when it comes to debt and debt repayment. If you're clever, you'll be able to make a lot of money without having to borrow it. Expense number 2, designer brands. Now, let us go on to the second expense. Fancy designer brands are avoided, and in this case, I'm referring to excessive dress standards and fashion trends that will drown the typical person in bad debt. Yes, we do require clothing, and beautiful clothing at that. Is this, however, to say that one should spend a major portion of their earnings on high-end designer clothing all of the time? People aren't particularly impressed by wearing trending designer stuff, sneakers that will probably rip in a few months. Therefore, wasting a major portion of one's money in ridiculously priced designer apparel every month is unlikely to make one wealthy. And if you don't believe me, consider Steve Jobs' famed dress code. Many people are perplexed as to why Apple's founder wore the same pair of jeans, black sweater, and sneakers for years. He wore clothes that were unlikely to turn heads, and he wandered around in them. Yet, he was the owner of one of the most lucrative tech giant companies in history. Rich people understand that value always takes precedence over price tags. As a result, they are exceedingly cautious with their spending. This is why billionaire Bill Gates casually wears a $10 Casio watch to public events, and Michael Bloomberg has worn the same pair of loafers for 10 years. And they aren't the only rich people that have a tendency to own the most basic items, because the more money you make, the more you realize that material things will never compare to the deeper, life-changing experiences that money can't buy. Why would you spend money on shoes on a monthly basis, come to think of it, when a pair of these can last you a year? And anyway, why put in additional effort merely to prove it if you've already worked so hard to earn money? Expense number 3, expensive real estate. This may surprise you, but another expense that wealthy people avoid is owning lavish homes that celebrities flaunt on social media. In reality, self-made millionaires are overly cautious when it comes to home ownership, and even if they live in luxurious mansions, you'll find that these homes weren't purchased at current values. Even if those were the values, they don't get too close to that person's net worth. Because here's the thing, buying an expensive house in a posh neighborhood is a counterproductive strategy for accumulating wealth. As a result, you'll find that the number of millionaires who live in homes valued at $300,000 is 3 times higher than those who live in homes valued at $1 million. Above everything else, if you are financially careful, you are probably aware that living in a $1 million home or neighborhood leads to an expensive lifestyle, which may jeopardize savings and wealth growth in order to obtain their money's worth and ensure that the property increases over time. Because of their well-thought-out investing decisions, wealthy people will always seek for the finest offers when purchasing a home. They'll buy the house for a modest price in a good neighborhood, then wait for its value to rise over time so they can flip it for a great profit. It's no surprise that Warren Buffett has lived in the same property since 1958 and that its worth has nearly tripled. In contrast to typical salary earners, celebrities frequently take out large loans in order to purchase a trendy home. The majority of wealthy people will tell you that buying a house at an exorbitant price is a foolish investment. Expense number 4, TV entertainment and video games. If there's one thing rich people never waste their money on, it's television and video games. Millionaires, according to experts, spend no more than 60 minutes every day in front of the television. In comparison, the average person spends about 5 to 7 hours every day on the computer. In most million-dollar houses, enormous television packages are an alien concept, with most residents preferring to engage in meaningful endeavors, such as reading profound books or focusing on their businesses. There is a significant correlation between a household's total income and a TV consumption rate in those respective households. According to numerous studies, households with a net worth of less than $25,000 recorded insanely high amounts of TV hours, while those with a net worth of more than $75,000 recorded significantly lower TV durations. As a result, excessive video game and television use will only consume your time, energy, and most crucially, your money. Besides, how do you plan to advance in your career? When all you do is sit on your couch and watch other people become wealthy, it's easy to grow demotivated. Expense number 5, flashy cars and expensive flights. You may have assumed that, aside from flying business class, all wealthy individuals drive the most luxury automobiles. Well, here's the thing. The vast majority of them don't. Several times, wealthy people have been discovered driving modest cars that you and I could easily purchase. Even more perplexing is the decision to fly economy instead of business class. When asked why he preferred to drive a standard Acura TSX, which costs roughly $30,000, part of Mark Zuckerberg's response was that it is comfortable and not flashy. Should you ask me, this is the most logical and true reasoning when it comes to car ownership. When it comes to car ownership, most people tend to perceive it only at face value, often blind to how much it will cost them down the line. Owning a flashy car comes with high maintenance costs, increased stress levels, and societal pressure to top it off with car accessories, which you can easily do without. With all of this in mind, why would you spend more than 10% of your assets or income on a car that will start depreciating before you know it? Unlike most people who succumb to societal pressure, it's not uncommon to see a millionaire driving around in an inexpensive or even outdated car. Actually, Experian did a study. According to automotives, 60% of millionaires are most likely to be seen driving Fords, Toyotas, and Hondas. Expense number 6. Fast food. Another common expense avoided by the wealthy is regular overconsumption of fast food. As the average person can't help but eat out virtually every night, those wealthy individuals will be on the lookout for more cost-effective dining options. You'd think that a millionaire would walk into a restaurant chain and order lunch for everyone, or even rent out the entire restaurant. But what if I told you that even the wealthy use discount coupons to save money, and that they would cause a ruckus if a restaurant overcharges them simply because they are wealthy? For some people, buying groceries is a better option than eating processed foods in a restaurant. People are also increasingly aligning themselves with healthy lifestyles, making financially draining fast food an absolute no. Expense number 7. Costly formal education. When you look at the success stories of most wealthy people, you'll see that formal schooling played very little role in their financial success. Almost a third of billionaires are college dropouts, whose ambitions were more than getting a piece of paper packaged to make it more appealing. I don't intend to discourage anyone from pursuing meaningful formal education, but the truth is that formal education, or colleges to be more specific, require a significant amount of effort and money. College grooms us for commendable academic performance and being rewarded for it by enclosing our minds in a box, only to find yourself shackled by a desk in the name of work. As soon as you step into the real world, the harsh reality will hit you. The piece of paper you spent thousands of dollars for was never a key to financial freedom. To get wealthy, most of these people never relied on regurgitating content. Instead, the vast majority of wealthy people who learned actual investment skills in school will never teach you. As a result, we'll refer to it as graduates who have spent nearly 20 years of their lives servicing debts. By this time, most wealthy people are opulently wealthy. Rich people do not invest in pricey home tutoring services, even when it comes to their children's education. Instead, they expose their children to more valuable skills, experiences, and chances, which help their overall personal growth in the long term. By doing so, they avoid the shackles of student debt and the low-paying employment that college prepares us for. In conclusion, wealthy individuals do not live as lavish as we might imagine, regardless of the overwhelming amount of money they have in their possession. They still remain wise on how they use their money. They not only work hard, but smart as well. There you have it. I hope this video gave you the insights you need on how to save money. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you'll be updated whenever we upload new videos that will surely help transform your life. Thanks for watching.